Hey YouTube, this is Sean from MediaAssault.com. We're going to do a video review of the game inFamous for the PS3. I got it right here. And realized the game came out almost 3 months ago. I just picked it up probably about a month ago and have been spending the last few nights and weekends, I should say, playing through the good path of the game, and I finally finished it a day or so ago. Decided to put my thoughts online. The web review is already online at media-assault.com if you want to read the more detailed review, but this is sort of a quick summary of my thoughts on the game. First of all, the storyline, nothing spectacularly new there. Sort of a combination of some post-apocalyptic type movies like Escape from New York and maybe elements of The Road Warrior and things of that nature, wrapped up in this tale of Cole McGrath, who is this bike courier who winds up in the middle of this giant explosion, and he's the only survivor. And when the dust settles, he emerges as having these magic electrical powers, so to speak, and he can use them for good or for evil in the game, and you as the player get to decide how you want to complete the game. You can do the good path, which is what I did, or you can do the evil path. And from what I understand, the elements of the story are relatively similar no matter which way you do decide to play the game. But how the citizens of the city treat you and the powers that you have differ slightly. And if you're good, your powers, the electrical bolts and things that you use are blue, and if you're bad, they're red. One thing that's cool about this game is that if you've ever played the game Crackdown for the Xbox 360, there was a lot of running and jumping and climbing and an open world for you to play in, basically. And inFamous gives you that in the guise of Empire City, which you can run across the rooftops, you can grind on power lines, you can interact, so to speak, with the pedestrians and inhabitants of the city. They'll give you side missions to go on, and as you complete those side missions, you'll clear out areas of the city from being harassed by these gangs that inhabit each of the 3 districts of the city. There's a historical district, there's a district called the Warren, and there's another one called the Neon District. They're basically 3 little islands that make up the city, which is more or less molded on New York City, although it looks nothing like it. And as you complete those side missions, you'll go ahead and you'll improve the looks of the city. The city will start out, when the game starts out, it's kind of run down and very slum-like, very ghetto-looking, and at least in the good path anyway, as you save the citizens from these gangs, the Reapers, and later ones are known as the I forget what they're called now, the Bagmen or something like that, I can't remember. But as you save the citizens from these gangs, the city starts to look better, and as you restore power to certain sections of the city, the nature of the city starts to look more colorful and more green, and the people seem more interested in what you're doing. First they're almost spitting on you, and then as you go through the game and you start to build up their respect, they start to clap, they start to take pictures of you. It's kind of funny. The game controls very well. One of the things that I was very impressed with, which some reviewers were disappointed by or complained about, was the stickiness of Cole McGrath. As you climb and run and jump on these buildings, you'll come to an edge and you can't just fall off the edge of a building. He'll stop. So you have to hit a button to drop down, and he'll drop to the next level, whether that be a windowsill or a ledge or something. The only time that really comes into play as a frustrating thing is when you were trying to do some of the side missions that are timed, and you'll be trying to run and jump off the edge of a building, and he'll, instead of jumping from one building to the next, he'll stick to a windowsill, or he'll stick to a wire or something, and that kind of gets frustrating. It's very minimal. I just want to say that right off the top. it saves you more frustration than it causes, let's put it that way. The game's graphics, it's a PS3 exclusive. That doesn't mean that it milks the PS3 for all the power that it's got. There are some pop-ups, there's some fill-in things that you wouldn't expect on the PS3 that still happen. However, it's more of a nitpicky thing. It's not a distracting thing. The game's controls are fluid. The fun is not overridden by the fact that this looks bad or anything. It's definitely not a bad-looking game at all. It's just not something that I would say, hey, if you want to see what the PS3 can do, hey, pop in inFamous and it's going to show you. It's just an adequately next-gen looking game, and it does what it needs to do, and that is it plays like a dream. And that's the real reason that I have such a high recommendation for this game, is the fact that it is very fun to play. The running, the jumping, the climbing, the fighting, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of enemies to take out, whether there be the bosses of the game, of which there are a few. More or less, though, you're going to be doing a lot of combat with those gangs that I mentioned. So basically, the verdict on inFamous, I would give it a 5 stars out of 5 stars. Definitely worth picking up. I picked it up used off eBay, but it's well worth full price. And you can find it discounted on a lot of the retailers now. Amazon.com, I believe it's $50. Well worth it, whether you pay full price or buy it used like I did. Definitely worth getting for the PS3. So that's my review of inFamous for the PlayStation 3, and hope you'll check out our site at mediaassault.com, or I'm sorry, media-assault.com, and check out some of our other reviews. Got more coming up on YouTube, so check us out.